Hey guys, welcome back to another review, and today we have a really exciting product. This is the BQEYZ Summer. So very similar to the setup of your Spring 2, you have a Piezo balanced armature and dynamic driver as well, hybrid in the configuration, and they're one of the few companies that does that. And that's really interesting because they do give you a different sound on the ear. But how does this compare to the Spring 2, Starfields, and our channel favorites? We're gonna find out in this video. Of course, big thanks to BQEYZ themselves for sending this over. Links down below for the shop. Of course, you have summer at the front, a pretty minimalist box overall. You have that summer trims at the side. You're getting piezoelectric dynamic balance armature. So you're getting 3 drivers here. 13mm dynamic driver, 107 dB sensitivity, 7 to 40 kHz, 1.2 meter in cable, 0.78mm 2-pin connector. And of course, in terms of price, it's similar than what you get with your Spring 2, around $100+. So that is your BQEYZ Summer. Actually, it's cool that you have a see-through kind of thing. Best quality earphone for you. So you're getting BQEYZ branding in your case, and it's kind of a gray leather kind of case. Really cool color for me. Unique color overall. You're getting that cable. This is very similar to the Spring 2 in terms of the cable. Overall, I do like the cable quality. The feel feels good in the hand. Not the best that I felt, but definitely I would say above average overall. And you're getting preform earlocks, and you're getting the 2-pin connector as well. So looking at the lobes itself, it's definitely nice looking. So it's see-through, and you have that design at the side. It's kind of like a leaf design. So definitely I can see why you have a tree in your box. So it feels kind of an organic kind of design. It's actually in the small side. It's not a big IEM. And actually you have fins here, which is something that I like. Very welcome. Plastic and build, but feels really good in the hand still. Actually, this is in the light side as well, but the plastic still feels good. So definitely one of the lighter ones in this price range that I have tested. So actually surprising that it's this light, but given that fins, it will still be good fitting on the ear. And actually it goes pretty deep, not the deepest here, so it might be again comfortable to wear on the ear. So I would say overall this is a safe shape. Anybody can just pick this up and be okay with the shape. And here you have summer at the side. And actually really surprising how light this is on the ear. And you can see the insides. I'm not sure if you can see it in the camera, but definitely you can see the inside, the drivers that you have. So really cool on this. Let's put the cables in. Right now, putting the cables in. So definitely, that silver cable is not bad overall. I do prefer maybe a more understated cable because the lobes is black. So I would maybe change this up to a black cable. But still, it feels good in the hand. I don't have any major issues. And actually, the preform earlocks as well. It's the higher quality preform earlocks because you don't have a plastic cover at the side. So yeah, definitely feels good in this. I don't have any major issues, and yeah, the build quality is great for me. So now let's talk about the sound. So now wearing this on the ear, this is actually really stable on the ear because of that fins. This stays on your ear nicely. One of the better fitting BQEYZs for me, and because of that smaller design, the smaller case, it's pretty comfortable to wear as well. So I can listen to this for a long listening session. This is definitely one of the more comfortable IEMs with fins that I have tested because of that small design. So for me, yeah, a safe shape on the ear and very comfortable to wear as well. So just one downside for me of the overall look is you do get plastic lobes, and yeah, that might be a downside for some. So this is not the most sophisticated build quality. But I don't have any major issues on that. This IEM still lasts you the test of time. But yeah, for some people who's into design, you might like metal build more than your plastic build. Alright, so looking at the signature, it's definitely a V type of shape through and through. But actually, what's surprising here is the top doesn't have that 2021 peak. It's more smooth highs on top, but it's more of a bright U on the ear. So from the base region, you get the dip to around 1K, 1 to 2K, and you get that valley for your V shape. And then after that, it goes up to around 3K with that small peak, but not really that substantial. And then it goes down to around 5K, and then it goes up to around 10K. And as you can notice here, that elevation on top is not that peaky. So the sharpness of the peak is not that pronounced in the mix. So it's a bit more rounded off. and it gives better body on top. And then after that, it goes down to around 12K. And actually after that, you get that maybe slight hump at around 13K. So you get a slight air frequency elevation, but still I would say pretty smooth signature overall. This more of an enthusiast signature on the ear, but definitely yes, a V-shape sound through and through. So compared to the Spring 2, the Spring 2 still has similarities in the signature, but actually the Spring 2 has more forward mids. So that can be an advantage for some, and also the elevation on top is more recessed as well compared to what you get with your Summer. So definitely yes, the Summer is a more V type of shape, through and through, a more fun type of shape. So in the mid-range, you do get maybe a 2 to 3 dB elevation in the Spring 2, and also on top you get maybe around 5 dB recession in the Spring 2. But they do have similar 4K elevation. They do have similar 8K elevation. They also do have similar around 13K elevation. So it's still a BQEYZ signature, but slightly retuned in this. So compared to the Starfield definitely is a more IEM diffused, neutral signature, warm neutral signature. So definitely the mids are more forward in the Starfields in this. And actually on top, you do get similarities with the air frequency elevation, but definitely you don't have that 8K, 5K peak or elevation that you have with your Summer. So definitely is a more level tuning here in the Starfield, and a more warmer sound as well on the ear. So looking at the sound, so actually yes, you have that piezo on top. So definitely the unique selling point here is having that speed on top, that piezo speed on top, and that actually gives you one of the most speedy presentations in IEMs that I have tested. So definitely on the micro detail, because of that speed on top, is really nice on this. So for some tracks, this just really shines. You can hear some things here that you cannot hear in usual drivers. And for this, compared to the Spring 2, from the get-go, this is more fun, more musical compared to the Spring 2. So the highs here are really speedy. Micro detail here is faster than your usual drivers, so the micro detail for me is great. So compared to other piezo that I have heard, it's actually a good implementation. So I actually heard of some piezo that I didn't really like. So this is the good implementation for me. So they added piezo on parts that is not that aggressive in the mix. So it's more subtle than some piezo that I have heard. So it's not that overly done in the mix for me. So the highs definitely is musical and energetic, and really good body still for me on top. Quite smooth highs, as you can see from the signature. So no peakiness, especially in the measurements. So this is not boring highs for sure. This is more energetic, definitely colored sound. And here really revealing as well. So one of the most revealing that I have heard in the price range, especially for BQEYZs, and also has that chimey nature to it. It's a different sound on the ear. So because of that piezo, some cymbals, percussions, triangles have that additional oomph to the sound, which makes them more lively to listen to on the ear. So really enjoy this for some percussive music, for that world music. This really shines for me. However, one downside here is for some tracks that chime might come across as unnatural to listen to. So I would say it's not as bad as compared to other piezo that I have listened to. This definitely good implementation for me, but definitely the piezo presentation is still there and might not be for everybody. So it makes some parts of the listen maybe a bit too energetic, maybe a bit too chimey. So it can be unnatural in tonality in the presentation. So going to the mids are revealing. The vocals are revealing here without being too shouty for me. The positioning as well is good for me. Not the best, but pretty good, especially for a V type of tuning. So it's very near where you want it to be for male and female vocals. But yes, it's still recessed in the mix, being a U type of shape on the ear. So definitely nearly there, but this won't beat out your more neutral counterparts. So I would say yeah, almost there for me. The vocals also is big in the mix. It has some smoothness as well in the vocal. So quite full vocal in the mix here, and I do like again that micro detail that your BA gives in this, and also the vocal come across for me as more natural to listen to than the top. So definitely yeah, the mids here are good, especially for a U type of shape. Going to the bass is substantial in the mix. You have that dynamic driver which gives a pretty fast, punchy and impactful bass as well. May have a touch of mid-bass bleed, so definitely the bass here is quite substantial in the mix. So definitely a more colored, engaging type of bass. But I would say not that much mid-bass bleed in this. It's well within my tolerance for it. So this won't be for bass heads. So I do have other IEMs that I would recommend for bass heads. But the bass here is still substantial and fun. It has a bit of boom to it as well. So definitely a more engaging type of bass overall, a more musical type of bass overall. So it's quite prominent in the mix here. So they were able to make it impactful but not being too much, which is something that I like. So you can still listen to the mids and the highs really nicely on this and still, give good separation overall. So the soundstage is big on this. It has that maybe out of IEM experience. So definitely really cool on that. I found this to be a bigger stage compared to the Spring 2. So imaging is quite good in this. This is something that maybe I can use for some mixing work if I am okay with that piezo on top. So the positioning here is quite pronounced. So the separation here is great as well. Because of that, not that overwhelming bass and big stage. Separation is pretty good for me in this. Detail is great in this as well. So that piezo on top retrieves some micro detail. For some tracks like acoustic tracks, guitar tracks, definitely this shines. So as I mentioned, for some tracks that the piezo is really needed, this just really shines more compared to other driver types that I've heard. So compared to the Spring 2, so the Spring 2 is more relaxed on the ear. And looking at the measurements, the mids are more forward in the Spring 2. It's less of a V type of shape compared to what you get with a more V-shaped Summer. So the Spring 2 has more forward vocal, more revealing as well. The tonality for me is better as well in the Spring 2. So I did like the highs in the Spring 2 better. It has tighter bass as well in the Spring 2. A bit more colder tonality as well. And A/B testing versus the Summer, the Spring 2 also has a more subtle piezo implementation. So the piezo, the issue that I had with the Summer, that maybe the tonality is not that natural, it's okay with the Spring 2 because it's a more subtle implementation. The Summer is more lively, the bass is more impactful, it's more chimey on top, bigger stage, more airy and more lively overall. So these two, they have different pros and cons for me. So for those who like warmth, if you like that V type of sound, a more musical type of sound, you might like the Summer. The Spring 2, if you like a more enthusiast, listen on the ear, a more balanced sound as well, might want to go to the Spring 2. So for me, I actually like both. They have similarities in the technicalities. But for me, in my personal preference, if you're gonna ask me, I still like the Spring 2 more than the Summer because I do like my vocals. And for me, I did find the Spring 2 to have better vocal. Compared to the Starfield, the Summer is more revealing, more fun, faster sound overall because of that, micro detail. Definitely the micro detail in the Summer is a unique selling point. The Summer is cleaner in presentation as well and more airy sound as well. And has a more incisive, crispy sound as well in the Summer compared to the Starfield. The Starfield is smoother in comparison, more relaxed on the ear, warmer. The mid-range is more smooth, more lush, and more forward in the mix as well. So A/B testing with the Summer, the Starfield might sound a bit boring in comparison. So definitely that Summer is really lively in comparison. So for me, yes, these are both different. They have their own pros and cons. It will depend on your preference. So frankly, for me, there are tracks that kind of sound nicer with the Summer because of that, a faster implementation. And for me, there are some tracks that sounded nicer in the Starfield. So yeah, the unique selling point, can work for some tracks. The problem with that is for Summer, it doesn't work in all the tracks. The versatility, is not as good as the Starfield. So for me, if you like a more fun, more chimey, more engaging sound, you might want to go to the Summer. If you like a more neutral, warm presentation, smoother presentation, a more relaxed presentation, you might like to go to the Starfields. So for me, in my personal preference, I do like the Starfields still more because of that mids. So I do like, my vocals and mids. So let's try to close this thing. So for the Summer, for me, it really fits the name. So it's a more sunny, more fun implementation of your Spring 2. You still get that similar drivers but in a more bassy package, more lively package. So for that price range, this is the first time that I have heard of this kind of implementation. So definitely there's a unique selling point here. So definitely that speed on top, fun type of signature, engaging nature, revealing as well. So definitely there's a lot of pros here, but with some cons as well. So it can be a bit too chimey or shimmery on top, and it can be unnatural to listen to in some tracks as well. So the versatility is not that great here. The vocal positioning as well is left to be desired. So for me, if you're looking for a fast, fun, type of implementation, this is one of the few that I have listened to in this price range. I really enjoyed, the micro detail on top here. It's just, different compared to other drivers. So that's my look with the BQEYZ Summer, a nicely implemented piezo for me. So if you learned something, of course, leave a like and subscribe for more content like this in the future. And I'm actually gonna try to do a full review of the Spring 2. I'm gonna try my best because I do have several reviews incoming. But the KC2 will be first in the list. So I'm gonna try my best to get the review out as fast as I can. If not a review, an unboxing. But stay tuned for that. And yeah, see you guys in the next zpolt review. Goodbye.